Okay, everybody. The London's greatest detective, Sherlock Holmes, joins joins Mystery Inc. this weekend in good old London, England, where where the screaming skulls have 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 been terrorizing the good folks of London, and it's up to Sco- and it's up to Mystery Inc. Along with a crackpot kook that actually believes he is the legendary fictional character Sherlock Holmes. And guys, um, this episode is way better than episode number 3. Just because this This is an example where Sherlock Holmes truly plays his role as the special guest of the week, because he Sherlock uh, e- 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 even though everybody knows that Sh- Sherlock Holmes is in fact a made-up character. Um, Holmes actually does exactly what the world's greatest detective would do. And basically, guys, um, the the basically, guys, Fred and the gang basically are basically just driving through London Square, basically saying how 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 they actually enjoy getting to see London, and then all of a sudden Fred screams out, "Screaming skulls!" And then and then right before the police show up, um, Sh- Sherlock Holmes himself kind of uh, kind of greets the gang for the first time and says, "Ribbing top of science, science," and and then right as the local constable shows up, as they would call them, back back in ancient London, and especially where and especially in Sherlock's legendary books, Sherlock Holmes runs away, and the gang finds out that it's Sherlock Holmes himself that ha- has posted their bail. And guys, this truly is uh, what this episode with Sherlock Holmes is actually better than the original episode of the new Scooby-Doo movies that also featured Sherlock Holmes, because instead of Sherlock and the town of London being being a bunch of robots, this crackpot, as he's referred to, actually really does believe he is the the legendary hero Sherlock Holmes. And um a- a- actually Fred is the first one to point out that that we all know Sherlock Holmes is a fake, but 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 then it's Daphne and Velma that say, "Hey, well, let's give this guy a chance, because first of all, he got us out of jail, and second, he seems nice, and third, he could really help us solve this mystery. Now, guys, the 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 mystery honestly plays out just like one of Sherlock Holmes's books. Baker Street is mentioned. Even references to other Sherlock Holmes books are mentioned throughout the entirety of the episode, and the crackpot that thinks he is Sherlock calls Velma his faithful psychic, Dr. Watson, and he calls and he ends up calling Shaggy Mrs. Hudson, which now I'm not an expert on Sherlock Holmes, guys, but I'm thinking Mrs. Hudson was maybe Sherlock's maid or something, and on top of thinking that Scooby did the mud, Scooby basically makes Sherlock Holmes think that Scooby's his brother Morlock, and basically, guys, the flaming skulls actually ends up being the work of the one of the gatekeepers, and one of the workers down at the oil mine, and the gatekeeper to the legendary Tower of London, because their ultimate goal is to find the crown jewels of London. But unfortunately for the oil man and the gatekeeper, everybody knows, and this is even said right at the end of the episode, that the real crown jewels of London were moved to an undisclosed location years ago. So all the flaming skull ended up stealing were fakes of the legendary crown jewels. So yeah, guys, again, this episode, Sherlock truly took the lead, and honestly, guys, this is how a real good episode of the new Scooby-Doo movies was, because just like when the Funky Phantom crew stepped in and Muggsy became Abraham Lincoln, that is how a good episode is made, because Muggsy and the Funky Phantom crew and the crackpot Sherlock Holmes really did take the lead in this episode, and for once, this felt like a classic episode of Scooby-Doo, in the fact that there's a moment where Holmes and Scooby, Velma, Shaggy, where Holmes and Mystery Inc. are literally being chased up and down the halls by the screaming skulls of London. And that chase scene is a perfect execution of what a classic chase scene from Scooby-Doo Where Are You was like. I mean, running up and down multiple doorways more than once, having weird costume changes. Sherlock and Fred and Shaggy literally having to pull Scooby because he won't let go of this ancient sword because he's so scared of the screaming skulls. And yeah, overall, guys, just a really good episode. And they also make really good use of the English culture. Shaggy even says at the very beginning of the episode, it it it's bad enough we're jumping on the wrong side of the road because be, 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 because in England, guys, they drive on the opposite side of the road than people in in America do. So yeah, guys, there's really good use of the English culture, and Daphne, of all people, is actually the one that is able to kind of translate it. And I feel like that's kind of a mini reference to 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 her having Scottish heritage. And yeah, guys, just overall, and just the way Shaggy finally loses it on Holmes and says, "Dude, Sherlock Holmes is a guy from a book. I don't want to be Mrs. Hunton anymore. My name is Shaggy." And yeah, guys, overall, just a truly well done episode. Good show, Holmes, and elementary, my dear Watson. Ribbing, well done.